Welcome to episode 4 of the Big Bad Bruins Bantah. I am your host, Papa Bruin. I hope you're all well. And we're coming to you Sunday morning after the Bruins loss to Washington in overtime. But we have a lot to talk about. The venom for Tuukka Rask, again, is back. It only took a few games to really be back. But we will get into that in a bit. I do want to go over what the Bruins did this past week, which was super encouraging and very good work in, kind of feeding off of the 2 games that they won against Philadelphia at home. So on this past Tuesday, they played the Penguins with Cindy Crosby and Gina Malkin. And the Bruins were a bit, shaky, right? Tuukka was a bit shaky. They blew a 2-0 lead. Jake DeBrusk got hurt. But they did get goals from Big Dick Nick again. And Marshy had another shorty. DeBrusk was injured, but honestly, he hasn't been noticeable. And he just got signed to a contract, so I'm hoping that he shows something. But somebody who did show something is Craig Smith. I got to give it to my friend Rich Nashawati, who said Craig Smith was a good player. I didn't think anything of it, but he's been playing very well. And then in overtime, after in the shootout, after a crazy overtime that Tuukka made some insane saves, Malkin and I think Letang, and I cannot remember the other person, had 3-0 and did not score. And then the Bruins went down the other end. Krejci fed Craig Smith for the winner. So Craig Smith has been a welcome addition to the team. So on Thursday night, again, I love these mini-series, if you will, like they do in baseball. They play a couple games. I did see Brandon Carlo mention this, that they love this. They hope they do this in future seasons when there's no Rona, so they can, go around the town and, kind of do some sightseeing between games and things like that. And I think for fans, it's fantastic because, what Bruins fan doesn't want to go to Tampa for 4 days and get to see 2 games in the middle of February? And it's also cuts down on travel for the players and travel expenses. So I hope the NHL does this, and does these 2 out of, back-to-back or 2 games in 3 nights. I really dig it. So the next night, Bruins come out, play the Penguins, who probably had to sit in their room, all, in their individual rooms. They couldn't do anything because that's the protocol now because of the corona. The Bruins came out and dominated. The fourth line with Corrali, Wagner, an interchangeable part at the bottom there. Played very well. D has been very solid. Miller, again, amazing what he's done with reconstructed $6 million man, terminated knees. He's like Wolverine. He just regenerated. I don't know how he's playing the way he is, to be honest with you. Zaboro has been good. You haven't heard his name. And if you haven't really heard his name, that means he's not screwing up. So he's been very good. Lazon as well. And honestly, you haven't really missed Chara and Krug, if I dare say it. I mean, you missed Chara's leadership, of course. We all love Big Z. But I haven't, you haven't really noticed. And then Bergeron just comes out like hellfire, scores 2 goals. And this is, of course, after I post the take that he maybe subbed behind Marchand in the most valuable player on the Bruins award. But it looks like my reverse jinx won out because he is, he heard that. He heard me talking my shit and then came out like gangbusters. So, nice win, sweep with the Pens. Gotta love that. Trucking along. And then last night, Saturday night, again, we're recording on Sunday morning. They went to the Caps, which has been their nemesis. They can't beat the Caps. I mean, they broke that horrible streak they had. I think 17 games they couldn't beat them. But that's with Brandon Holtby, and Brandon Holtby is no longer there. They got Samsonov, and they got this other goalie that played last night. Can't remember his name. Starts with a V. Apologize. But Pasta returned, was great. And then you got to see Big Z in the red uniform, which I'm not really good with still. It looked very weird. And then Pasternak got back to game action by hitting Big Z in the face with a puck. But the Bruins were peppering the goalie, couldn't score with their life. They were out shooting Washington by an ungodly total. I think at one point it was 38-20 in the whole game, but they went down 3-0. Now, Tuukka did not look great. He had some screens, but he was not great. But the Bruins could not cash in on any of their chances, and we know what happens when they outshoot another team. They generally lose. So, Krejci had an opportunity, missed it. The goalie made a huge save. Marchand had a big opportunity, couldn't score. And then they come back like gangbusters in the third. And, Krejci, like I said, Marchand couldn't do anything. They storm back. McAvoy ties it late. Rask makes a couple of huge saves at the end of regulation. Huge, like that was the game. And then the defense parted like the Red Sea, and Ovi blasted a laser by Tuukka. And you could argue Tuukka should have had it, could have had it. Did he play great? If I gave him a letter grade, I'm thinking CC minus. Did not play great. The whole team didn't play great if you think about it. You shouldn't go down 3-0, and you got to cash in on your opportunities. So, of course, it only took, I don't know how many games into the season for the Tuukka Rask haters to come, assemble again like evil hordes that they are, and come back and just basically spew venom. And to any of those that are Tuukka backers like myself, they basically attack, basically tell me that I ride his dick. Basically, if another person on my Facebook, the Big Bad Bruins Nation page said, I can't believe Tuukka was married because you give him so many blowjobs. So I hope there's no young kids listening. This is an explicit show. But there's enough venom and decisiveness, a device, I don't know, division. I can't, I'm not good with words. It's early. What are we doing here? We're all Bruins fans, and we attack each other because you don't like the goalie that basically has been one of the best goalies in the league, one of the best goalies in Bruins history. And, it is a witch hunt, a constant witch hunt against this guy. When the team loses, it's all his fault. But when the team wins, you hear nothing about it. Halak gets a free pass if he has a shitty game. Any backup for the Bruins gets a free pass. And, this would put some of the people on Twitter put this great. This is at SassyBlondie1 on Twitter. This incessant need to make Rask the bad guy and actively root for him to fail by some fans, quote unquote, is just bizarre. The Van Riemsdyk goal is only one that I felt he absolutely should have had. The others were 50-50 and he was screened. A positional blind save would have had to happen. Okay. Yeah, he was screened. All right. Then we had some comment from, as I'm looking for it here. So begins the big hole in OT. Excuse me, people. I'm having a hard time here. Okay, this is from, I believe, Kylie, or I hope I said it right, at 2KA Rask on Twitter. Tuukka isn't the reason. He wasn't 100% most likely due to injury, but the Bruins registered 43 shots in goal and still barely squeaked by. The offense wasn't where it needed to be, and the defense can't let Ovi walk in overtime. We're lucky we got a point at all. Absolutely. And as I just said, he made huge saves at the end of regulation. They would have got no point. So instead of crucifying the guy, let's be happy we got a point out of that game because we probably deserved no points because we couldn't bury anything. Okay. So that's another mind-blowing thing in the world, like why people hate this guy so much. And let's go over the reasons why everyone says. 2010. Tim Thomas basically wasn't playing because he sucked. So Tuukka Rask won the job. So he goes and plays that game against Philly. And the Bruins are up 3-0, and also 3-0 in Game 7. Philly historically storms back and beats the Bruins. Now, of course, people look back on revisionist history and blame Tuukka Rask for that whole series, which is complete bullshit. Again, he's a young player when this happened. Let me see when this went on. He was 22 years old. He put up he had a 2.61 goals against and a .912 save percentage. Was that great? No. But can you blame this all on him? The defense didn't squander this? When Krejci got hurt, if you guys remember, he broke his wrist, I believe. They folded like a tent, okay? Krejci, as you know, is one of the biggest playoff performers, okay? So to pin this all on Tuukka Rask is just weak. It's a weak argument, okay? Now we're going to, everybody, the other thing, the next one, everybody will say is the 2013 Stanley Cup final against the Chicago Blackhawks, who were a fucking wagon with Taves and Kane and Corey Crawford and Seabrook and Hossa and all these guys that they were one of the best teams, as you know, and they won 3 cups. Okay. So everybody's going to blame, when they squandered that lead in game 6, they're going to blame Tuukka for the whole series. Now let me throw this stat at you. In that 6-game series, the Boston Bruins roster was a negative plus minus 26. And I said I wasn't getting the stats, but I have to get the stats for this argument. Minus 26. Okay. Zdeno Chara was a minus 5. He's the king of plus minus. He was a minus 5. Tuukka ended up being 2-4, a 9.32 save percentage, which is phenomenal. Okay. 16 goals he left in 6 games. Okay. A little bit over 3 goals a game. Okay. But Blackhawks won game 1 in overtime. Bruins won game 2 in overtime. Bruins shut out the Blackhawks in game 3. No one talks about that. Game 4, Bruins sucked so bad. They lost 6-5 in overtime at home. That was the changer there. Okay. Their defense was putrid. Okay. Then they lost 3-1 to Chicago, and then they blew the game 6 3-2. They did not take advantage of the advantages at the beginning of the series that they had. They played like absolute shit as a team, as a collective, when you're minus 26, plus minus. Let's just tell you the Blackhawks were a plus 25, just saying. Plus 25, okay? And Corey Crawford was lights out too. I remember Corey Crawford made some incredible saves in that series. So to blame Tuukka Rask for this game is complete, for this series and for them losing, complete horseshit, okay? Now everybody's going to blame him for it. And now remember in the 2013 season, let me go back, he beat the Rangers in Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh was pretty much probably in their prime, swept Pittsburgh, beat the Rangers 4-1, and was absolutely lights out in the playoffs. So you Tuukka haters, would you rather not get to the Stanley Cup final? Or would you rather not have Tuukka Rask stand on his head, get you there, and then as a collective, the team lost as a collective? Okay? You tell me what you want to do. Would you rather not make it at all or lose because the whole team shit the bed? Now, everybody will go now to the 2019, which really still hurts me to this day, game against the Blues, which you should have beat. Should have beat soundly. Okay? You won game 2, 4-2. You lost 3-2 in overtime. You won game 3, 7-2. You lost game 4, 4-2. You lost game 6, 2-1. And then when you're ready to be eliminated, Tuukka pulled you out of the fire, won 5-1. Now, Tuukka also beat the Blue Jackets on the way there. The Hurricanes made some huge saves, okay? The Leafs again. Incredible saves got you there again. Now, you're going to be like, well, it's all Tuukka's fault they lost. It's all Tuukka's fault they lost. The Boston Bruins in that series were a minus 11. David Pastrnak was a minus 7. David Pastrnak scored a total of 4 points. Brad Marchand scored a total of 5 points with a -2. And Patrice Bergeron, I love him so much, a total of 4 points and a -4. So Tuukka Rask is the reason they lost. He had a .912 save percentage. He let up 17 goals in 7 games. Okay? If I remember, that's a little bit over 2 goals a game. If I did my math right, 2.5 goals a game. Okay? That's all Tuukka's fault again. Don't look at the stats, people. Don't look at the stats at all. And the Blues were a +8. Okay? Blues were a +8 that series. So again, we're not big in the stats and all this stuff. But that year, Pastrnak, Marchand scored regular season 100 points, Pastrnak 81, Bergeron 79, and they were a fucking no-show during the biggest series of the year. Their biggest games of the year, biggest games of some of their lives, Pasternak's life. So to blame Tuukka Rask for that series is another horseshit argument. Now you go back to that game against Ottawa that they needed to win to get in, and he was sick and he didn't play and they end up losing. Now you said he's soft and he didn't play, but if he did play, you would crucify him for playing. So if you hated him so, then you were happy he didn't play. Then you were absolutely happy he didn't play. Now you also go to about the fact about the bubble last year in Toronto, that he ended up leaving halfway through the Carolina series. Now at the beginning, I even said too, if he copped out because he did make comments that he did not want to play anymore, he was thinking about retirement, things to that effect. I said, if he just banged out because he didn't want to play anymore, I would even I'd even question if he was in it anymore. But when you found it after that his baby daughter was sick and he wanted to go home and be with his family during a fucking pandemic, you crucified him for that too. I try not to judge anymore because if I end up judging, like I did Tim Thomas, I judged Tim Thomas when he went off the reservation with bananas. I judged him. But guess what? I didn't know he had concussion issues. I didn't know, it basically debilitated him. So I felt like a complete bag of shit when I found that out. So I didn't like pass judgment of Tuukka. I said, let's see what happened. And finding out his daughter, if any of you people have kids, I feel you would do the same thing 10 out of 10 times. And if you don't have kids, you probably wouldn't think that way. And that's probably why you feel that he gave up on your team. Okay? I have called him out when he plays like shit. I have said, you can see my Big Bad Bruins Nation page. I've said he doesn't look good in certain ones. But my whole thing is when they lose, he gets all the blame. And when they win, he gets no credit. And again, he's one of the best Bruins goaltenders in history. And he's probably a borderline Hall of Famer. I'm going to say borderline Hall of Famer. Okay. So again, when you start the venom for this guy, I don't know what he did to you in your personal life to attack him the way you do. It's just mind blowing. And another thing, Bruins fans attacking Bruins fans, again, what I mentioned, what I was called on my page, which I will not tolerate at all, name calling, hiding behind the computer. You could disagree with me all you want, and I bring it on. Let's debate, because I'll bring these numbers to you, believe it or not, numbers. And I'll bring the biggest number of them all, because you'd be like, Tim Thomas did this. Tim Thomas did that. Tim Thomas went out to the cup. I was a big Tim Thomas fan before I made those accusations that he gave up on his team, but did not know about the concussion. He was phenomenal that year. He was unbelievable in 2010, 2011, 10 years now, the 10-year anniversary. He was unbelievable, okay? But he only reached the playoffs in Boston a total of 4 times. And he was out of the 2 of those years. They were out in 1 series, and the next year he was out in 2 series. Okay, so he didn't do a whole lot at all. And his numbers in some of the cup final, I think in 13 and 19, comparable. Tuukka's comparable to his. Okay, so Tim Thomas, a nice goalie. He was a good goalie. He had a all-time historic year. But to compare, because he won, and we all live in a society that everybody's entitled, and everybody's spoiled rotten, because we're fucking spoiled rotten here. Now I'm 47. I remember when the Bruins weren't great in the 90s. 88 and 90, they had a great team with Bork and Neely and Don Sweeney, and they had a lot of guys, a great gritty team, Reggie Lemlin, Andy Moog, so on and so forth. But then they played Edmonton and got throttled both times with Gretzky and Messier and Yari Curry and so forth, Grant Fuhr, okay? The Boston Bruins are 6-14 in the Stanley Cup Finals. So there's an issue there anyway. They're just not a big, as a collective, they are not a big game franchise. Let's call a spade a spade. I love them to death, but they're not. You go to the Cup 20 times, you win 6 of them. A lot of those with Bobby Orr too. They can't, they're not a big, they're a choking team. I mean, I love them, but they're a choking team when it comes to the final. They are. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. They had no right winning that Cup 10 years ago against Vancouver. Vancouver on paper was better, but Tim Thomas was the X factor. Okay. So we can get along. We could disagree, but we don't have to be complete assholes to each other. I don't understand why people like that. Now, Ryan Richard and I have had our disagreements, but I don't think he's ever stooped to the low of some of these people saying, as I mentioned before, I ride Tuukka's dick and I give him blowjobs and you don't need to say that shit, especially not to the guy who runs the community. I mean, you're instantly going to get banned for that shit. I don't know why you have to be like that. You could disagree and I'll listen to you. Let's talk like adults. Let's try to be nice to each other. I mean, I'm not trying to get all holier than thou and up on a pulpit, but let's be nice to each other for once or twice. Fucking the world is fucked up as it is. Let's not fight about a goaltender. And a goaltender is one of the best in the league. And if you don't like him, please come to me. Send me messages of who the alternative is. Darth Vader, Halak, nice backup, but he couldn't get the job done last year against Tampa. So that is my whole discussion of the crucifixion of Tuukka Rask. For you people, I'm going to be doing a YouTube channel. I am wearing my Tuukka Rask Finland jersey. and you'll be talking about how he shit the bed on them during the Olympics. So be it. Unless you're from Finland, why do you care? And from Kari, I got this jersey from Kari. Thank you, Kari. So again, a recap. Tuukka Rask, you could criticize him, but you can disagree with others, agree to disagree as well. But you cannot blame him for the 13 Cup, 19 Cup, the bubble, the 2010 debacle against Philly. It is a collective. Go to Hockey Reference, look at the stats, and come back to me if you feel that this is all Tuukka Rask's fault. Okay? So again, I had to get that off my chest because it bothers me to no end about the way they crucify him. He is one of my favorite players. I am a fanboy, but at the same time, I will call him out if he sucks or he doesn't do well or he misses goals. Like last night, he was average at best. He can't be average against a team like Washington, who's loaded. Okay. But anyway, I will exhale. Now let's do something fun. We are going to give away, I'm going to try to do this every podcast, give away some Big Bad Bruins Nation gear. Okay. I'm going to do some trivia. As we know, Sean Lucier of Navigation Brewery won the Big Bad Bruins plaque, Nation plaque from Wicked Woodprints in Tewksbury. So I delivered that to him the other day. So this week we are giving away Big Bad Bruins Nation t-shirts, black or gold. We're going to give it to the first two people that send me the correct answer. The first two people that send me the correct answer on Big Bad Bruins Nation Facebook by sending me a message. I'll check the timestamp. We'll do it that way. Here we go. God, a lot of talking, a lot of bantering. Papa Bruin gets fired up. He gets fired up. Here we go. Trivia. I didn't forget to ask the question this time. On January 30th, 1993, who had 4 assists in the Bruins' 6-5 win over the New York Islanders? Again, January 30th, 1993, who had 4 assists in the Bruins' 6-5 win over the New York Islanders? And if you know me, he is one of my favorite Bruins players of all time. Okay. So that is trivia. Now let's get to what you're drinking. So as I just mentioned, Sean Lucier, or I think it is. I'm sorry. I know it's French, man. Went down to deliver the plaque to him at Navigation. And him and the guys who were at Navigation in Lowell, Western Ave in Lowell. They're in this big, awesome mill building. Have a lot of artist lofts in there and so forth. Really cool. They have an outdoor sunken patio that I actually went there once during this whole predicament that we're in outside of her tent back in September to see a friend I haven't seen in a long time, socially distant, so forth and so on. Very cool place. Been there half a dozen times at least. So they sent me over some brewskis left yesterday. And I tried their Led Zeppelin. Look what I called it, Led Zeppelin Bend. Zeppelin Bend, which I think Sean told me. Let me make sure. He told me exactly what it was. He kind of said it was like a Frankenstein type of beer. They threw a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Did it with a wiffle ball bat. If you know what song that was from, send me a message too. I want to see if you know your stuff. But anyway, let me please hold. Let me go over what Sean sent me. Called the Kitchen Sink Beer. Just add some ingredients we had and then added some honey molasses, then fermented it with a German yeast. So I thought it was like a Pilsner, Zeppelin Bend, Zeppelin, German. Does that make sense? 5.5% alcohol. So if you don't want to get absolutely smashed with a triple or a double IPA, this is a good one. So that's why I had some of that last night. I also had their double IPA in a growler as well. That was really tasty. So again, I want to thank Sean and the guys over at Navigation Brewing over in Lowell, again on Western Ave. Check them out. Great place. They have food trucks out there all the time. I believe they have had music there in the past. Support your local businesses, especially during this tough time. So anyway, that kind of wraps things up. What's coming down the pike is I'm going to put a Big Bad Bruins Nation YouTube channel together, which you'll see my beautiful face and my Tuukka Rask Finland jersey. So I'm going to be doing that and probably uploading the other episodes because if I do these on Zoom, I might as well. But anyway, I'll look ahead. We have Washington on Monday night. And just looking at my trusty schedule, which I'll probably get back to you guys next weekend. So we're going to have Washington, Big Z again, Ovi again. I'm sure Halak will probably end up playing this next game, and there'll be no venom or hate, even if he lets up 5 goals. But But the Bruins have Washington, and then they go to Philly for a set. So again, this thing, it's not going to be easy. Philly has heated up yet again. So exhale. I did a lot of talking. I hope you guys liked it. Again, we all love the black and gold. Let's root for them as a team together. Let's not rip each other because we, for the people that defend the goalie of our team that we root for, which makes no sense to be against the goalie that we root for. But if you don't like them, let's debate. Let's get the numbers, people. I'm here for the debate. And actually, the next episode, if we want to get maybe Ryan Richard or anyone else who is a major Tuukka Rask detractor, and of course, next time we talk, Rask might get blown out, 2 games, 7-0 each time. Of course, reverse jinx. Let me know. Let's do a show. I want to do a show. I want to go back and forth. I want to hear your counterpoint of your venom and hate for Tuukka Rask. I'd love to hear this and why he is so vilified in this city. So I'm going to leave you with that. I want to thank you all again for the support on the Big Bad Bruins Banter podcast, all the support on Big Bad Bruins Nation, and also purchasing gear from the Big Bad Bruins Nation store. Again, you guys have been awesome. I love you, and we will talk soon. Go Bees!